are not so different than the plight of the dishwasher in Las Vegas. That the hopes of the little girl who goes to the crumbling school in Dillon are the same as the dreams of the boy who learns on the streets of LA. We will remember that there is something happening in America, that we are not as divided as our politics suggest, that we are one people, we are one nation, and together we will begin the next great chapter in the American story with 3 words that will ring from coast to coast, from sea to shining sea. Yes, we can. Thank you, New Hampshire. Thank you. Thank you.
And there he is, Barack Obama. He comes in second tonight in New Hampshire. Hillary Clinton, the winner, Barack Obama, delivering a powerful address, though. Yes, we can. His theme, he's now moving on to South Carolina, moving on to Nevada, and later to Super Tuesday. There is a real fight underway right now in the Democratic Party. High drama and huge comebacks in New Hampshire tonight. Hillary Clinton pulling out a victory in the Democratic primary. CNN projecting that Hillary Clinton will win over Barack Obama. It's been a close and fascinating race. Barack Obama, you just heard him conceding. And just a short while ago, Senator Obama formally congratulated Senator Clinton on her win. We're waiting now to hear from Senator Clinton. She'll be speaking very soon to her supporters in New Hampshire as well. Once she starts speaking, we'll go there live. On the Republican side, it's been a big win for John McCain. Another comeback for John McCain, coming back from seemingly in a very, very desperate position only a few months ago. He goes on to capture the Republican primary tonight in New Hampshire. Dramatic developments. Lou Dobbs and the best political team on television. You're watching all of this, Lou. What do you think? The Hillary Clinton comeback, the John McCain comeback. What a storyline that all of us political news junkies are following.
Well, indeed it is a night of comebacks and unexpected comebacks, an unexpected comeback in the case of course, Senator Clinton. And as we heard Senator Obama start the mantra of his campaign, yes, we can, it was pretty easy, I thought, John King, to get lost in the fact that he came in second tonight.
He did come in second, and yet he gave pretty much the speech he probably would have given had he come in first, except for that early line, I would like to congratulate Senator Clinton on her victory. He did get that out of the way early. He's trying to send a message to people in the states to come, especially in Nevada and in South Carolina. Just the other day, everyone was looking at that 10-point lead in the polls and thinking this could be checkers for Obama, that he was just going to skip, jump, king me. Well, guess what, Lou? Now we're going to play chess. In both the Democratic and the Republican race, you're looking at a crowded calendar. You have to pick your states, look at the demographics, look at how much money it costs to be on TV. And if you're Obama, you're going to pick up a very big endorsement in Nevada tomorrow morning, according to our sources. The African-American vote matters in South Carolina. So you're looking at your next places. That's what he was trying to do, saying, don't give up. We still can. Stay with us.
And it's interesting, the Unite here, folks, that was supposed to occur at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Now we have the results in. Do you think, Gloria, that there might be any head-scratching and second thoughts about endorsing Obama?
Yeah, I think there might be. I think, Lou, we cannot understate, or overstate, I should say, what a huge win this is for Hillary Clinton tonight. The polls had it wrong because voters changed, it seems to me, at the last minute. Hillary Clinton retooled her campaign a little bit, started getting out of the bubble, started actually talking to voters, answering all their questions, had an emotional moment, humanized herself. Her performance...
The tears worked?
I don't know. We'll see. All we know is that she did a lot better with women in New Hampshire than she did in Iowa. But also, she had a great ground operation. You have to give them credit. As John King said earlier, in a tight race, you have to get out those voters, and she did it.
For crying out loud, Newsweek's preeminent pundit talking about how she should, in fact, retool her campaign. People were writing this senator off as recently as, today. What happened?
I think the Obama people also may have been a little overconfident. Did you notice their musical selection that they had picked for tonight? It was Stevie Wonder's Signed, Sealed, Delivered. I don't think so.
Oops.
I don't think anything is signed, sealed, delivered at this point. I mean, this race is totally wide open. And look at South Carolina now. South Carolina has gone from a possible coronation of Barack Obama to... do we have Hillary Clinton there getting ready to speak?
Well, this is not a coronation, but I have to tell you, it is one heck of a resuscitation. Senator Clinton about to claim victory with her narrow margin and her unexpected margin. But as you can tell, she seems very authentic with that smile tonight.
But listen to what she says, because she is retooling her message. She may not have this giant staff turnover that people have been talking about, but she is retooling her message. And listen, you're going to hear a little bit of a different Hillary Clinton, more personal and more reactive to what Obama did.
Let's put John King to the test and see whether or not Senator Clinton has retooled.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I come tonight with a very, very full heart, and I want especially to thank New Hampshire. Over the last week, I listened to you, and in the process, I found my own voice. I felt like we all spoke from our hearts, and I am so gratified that you responded. Now together, let's give America the kind of comeback that New Hampshire has just given me. You know, for all the ups and downs of this campaign, you helped remind everyone that politics isn't a game. This campaign is about people, about making a difference in your lives, about making sure that everyone in this country has the opportunity to live up to his or her God-given potential. That has been the work of my life. We are facing a moment of so many big challenges. We know we face challenges here at home, around the world, so many challenges for the people whose lives I've been privileged to be part of. I've met families in this state and all over our country who've lost their homes to foreclosures, men and women who work day and night but can't pay the bills and hope they don't get sick because they can't afford health insurance. Young people who can't afford to go to college to pursue their dreams. Too many have been invisible for too long. Well, you are not invisible to me. The oil companies, the drug companies, the health insurance companies, the predatory student loan companies have had 7 years of a president who stands up for them. It's time we had a president who stands up for all of you. I intend to be that president, to be a president who puts you first, your lives, your families, your children, your futures. I believe deeply in America, in our can-do spirit, in our ability to meet any challenge and solve any problem. I believe in what we can do together. In the future, we will build together. There will be no more invisible Americans. So we're going to take what we've learned here in New Hampshire, and we're going to rally on and make our case. We are in it for the long run. And that is because we are in it for the American people. This victory will serve notice that people across our country know what's really at stake, that we will all be called upon to deliver on the promise of America. We'll be called upon to deliver on the promise that the middle class will grow and prosper again, to deliver on the promise that government will be of the people, by the people, and for the people, not just the privileged few. To deliver on the promise that every generation will have their shot at the American dream, to deliver on the promise that we'll have the will and the wisdom to end the war in Iraq the right way. To deliver on the promise to take care of our brave veterans and restore America's standing, respect, and credibility around the world. We know that for the promise of America to be real, we are called upon to deliver on that promise. And if you join in this call to greatness, we will together answer. So tomorrow, we're going to get up, roll up our sleeves, and keep going. I invite you to come join us at HillaryClinton.com. We're going to tap into all of the spirit, the talent, and just the plain grit of this great nation again. We are determined to tackle our toughest problems and stand up for those who most need a champion, because we are determined to make America work again for all of our people. We came back tonight because you spoke loudly and clearly. You want You want this campaign to be about you, because there is so much at stake for our country. I have so many people to thank. I want to thank the two most important people in my life, Bill and Chelsea. I want to thank them for their incredible commitment, their passion, and their heart. I want to thank my entire family, particularly my mother, who is watching tonight. I want to thank the extraordinary team here in New Hampshire that never faltered 1 minute. And that team had a great staff. It had volunteers and supporters from across this state and this country. I want to thank the young people across New Hampshire who came out the hard questions, and they voted their hearts and their minds, and I really appreciate it. And finally, I want to say how much I respect our Democratic candidates. Senators Dodd and Biden, who were in the race earlier, have given great service to our country. Governor Richardson, Congressman Kucinich, Senator Edwards, and Senator Obama, they all have put themselves on the line day and night on behalf of this country we love so much. This campaign will transform America because we will take on the challenges. We will seize the opportunities. Every single day, I am not going out there on my own. I'm going out there accompanied by millions and millions of people who believe, as I do, that this country is worth fighting for. Thank you, and God bless you.
Democratic primary in New Hampshire. She's not supposed to be there. It was supposed to be Barack Obama by as much as double digits. The experts were wrong. The people of New Hampshire, certainly the Democrats and independents who voted today, demonstrating what all of those pundits and savants who were so terribly wrong can do with their projections. I'm here with Carl Bernstein, Bill Bennett, Roland Martin. Your reaction to a woman who was supposed to be down and out just a few hours ago.
That's her great speech, and it's her. The most important thing she said in Iowa that got missed was, I'm running this campaign. And that's what she did when she got to New Hampshire. Bill Clinton was no longer the primary aspect of the campaign. We're going to see more changes like this, and that she is no longer speaking from that protective shell. This is more of her essential self. You see it periodically. I think she knows she has to be real. If she can do this, tonight she got the breathing room to have a full campaign. She was down and out. Those polls were only a snapshot. But if they'd gone just a little bit the other way, and still, the other thing is, 53% of the people still did not vote for her. So she has got a long way to go, but boy, does she have breathing room. She can raise money, and Edwards is the best thing she has going for her right now because he's splitting the vote and taking away from her.
Roland Martin, your thoughts?
A couple of factors. First and foremost, our polling, CNN, WMUR, showed that Obama was leading her by 3% among women. Exit polls today, plus 13 among women. That's what helped him in Iowa. Also, young voters in Iowa, they made up 17 to 29, made up 22% of those voting in the caucuses. In New Hampshire, 17%. So I think when you look at that moment yesterday, what the Obama campaign is saying, they believe that the tearful moment, the crying moment, caused women to say, you know what, let's give her a chance. Let's give her a shot.
Well, I can't speak for all men, but I'll tell you, it gave me pause to see Senator Clinton with a voice so natural as I can't recall hearing her voice be, with that tearful moment, many of the folks, and the savants and pundits and gurus who know these things, suggesting it was inauthentic. It seemed powerfully authentic to me.
I already had my piece written for tomorrow in terms of what does she need to do, and the number one item was she needs to say, look, run my campaign. Let me be me. Because the bottom line is, if you play safe, the bottom line is, that's not going to work at this time. You have to open yourself up. Republican side, what was the top issue? Likability.
Likability, which I just reject out of hand because I want it to be, as much as it can be, a race about issues and ideas, like I think many Americans, and the fact is likability still dominates our frontal lobe.
Absolutely.
But Bill Bennett and people also.
Absolutely. and Bill Bennett, this senator from New York said, as she began, that she listened to the people in New Hampshire, and in so doing, found her own voice. That also, while a clever line, and I compliment whoever the speechwriter was, it also sounded authentic, for crying out loud. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we have to get used to. Candor, watching the mainstream media saying that she was done and finished. For a conservative Republican, where do I go? Do I side with the Clintons or do I side with the mainstream media? It was a tough place to be.
You were for Obama the other night.
Right. But I'll tell you, I mean, this tells you don't count people out. And don't count out John McCain.
Right.
Don't count out Hillary Clinton.
McCain.
Right. And it ain't over till it's over. And the people spoke, and that's another nice victory, isn't it?
2 U.S. senators tonight winning in New Hampshire, both of whom, one within just days having been written off, and literally for weeks and weeks, Senator McCain being written off.
But for one word, it was authentic. John McCain came out and was John McCain. He tried to start off last summer with a Bush campaign, the big money, the big advisors, and you know what, John? You have to be you.
Well,
you've also got to wait for some votes to be cast. We've been writing off people before a single vote was cast. The other thing is that Bill Clinton, we're going to see less of. That part of what she is doing, and I talked to some people today about this, is that she knows that Bill Clinton is the baggage she has to deal with. This can no longer be about the restoration of the Clintons to the White House, because she cannot make it to the White House that way, and she knows it. The question is how to do it. It's a difficult dynamic between the two. This is a very human story that we're watching. We've never seen anything like this. It goes back to this national psychodrama with the Clintons. That's part of the story.
And as an almost lifelong critic of the Clintons, and there's a lot of things you can say about them that are uncomplimentary and that are true, but one thing is also true. Politically, they are something. Boy, don't ever count these people out. I mean, they are very strong.
But as our Gloria Borger said earlier, the savants, the pundits, all of the political experts need to do a little seeking of forgiveness and achieve a little humility, or at least modesty, if you can't quite get to humility, because everyone was so wrong in this, and breathtakingly so. Wrong?
Let me talk about the most favorite sport among African Americans, NASCAR. This is sort of how I...
So declared by Roland Martin tonight.
Since we're going to South Carolina next.
And I thought this race was hard to follow. Go ahead, Roland.
I sort of view this campaign as a NASCAR race. You have 2 fast cars. What does it come down to? Strategy. Do I pit? Do I do 2 tires? 4 tires? What do I do to win? What you hear, Obama actually has the riskiest strategy. He is trying to pull in young voters, independent voters, the holy grail of politics. And so in Iowa, he took the risk, it worked. Clinton is a traditional campaign. Union, terms of older voters, women, and so it's all about risk. And so what we saw in Iowa, he took the risk, she won. She took the risk in New Hampshire, she won. Now the question in South Carolina, what happens now?
What happens now? And we're going to be, in just a moment, coming back, we're going to be talking about the exit polling, the story behind the story, and what a story it is tonight. Senator John McCain prevailing in the Republican primary, Senator Hillary Clinton prevailing. Yes, Senator Hillary Clinton winning in New Hampshire, despite everything you've read and heard, even pundits and savants suggesting how she might retool her campaign, which looks like it's humming right now. We'll be back with that, and any time you feel like getting to further details, go to CNN.com for more information on this primary and politics in general, because politics tonight just got a lot more interesting. We'll be right back.
Some men live by the rule of law. Some men live to break it. The best Western since Unforgiven.
You're not all bad.
Yes, I am. Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, 3:10 to Yuma. Now on DVD and Blu-ray disc.
Tough meets classy. The stylish four-door Ridgeline built by Honda.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $398 when you call now to get this special $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free awning idea kit with DVD, plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free awning idea kit with DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
Call 1-800-529-5402.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning.
It provides instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
And now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $398 when you call now to get this $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
Call now for your free awning idea kit and $200 discount certificate.
Call 1-800-492-4211.
Communicate in less than a second on the largest and fastest push-to-talk network.
Nice work.
The new, rugged i335 with Nextel Direct Connect. That's getting it done at sprint speed.
I run to make my heart 1 mile stronger.
I swim to make my heart 1 lap stronger.
1 weekend with these guys stronger. 1 wheel pulse.
1 power walk. 1 brutal uphill climb.
Stronger. Stronger. Stronger.
And I eat Kellogg's Smart Start to help make my heart 1 bowl stronger.
1 bowl full of antioxidants with a little kiss of honey stronger.
1 bowl stronger.
Kellogg's Smart Start. 1 bowl stronger.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back with Bill Schneider, which means we are analyzing the exit poll numbers to try to figure out what exactly put Hillary Clinton over the top. Why did she win? It was so tight for such a long time. First and foremost, you got to look to the female vote here.
Women, that was it in a single word. Women, the empire strikes back. I call this chapter 2 of this campaign, and it was women who delivered the vote
for Hillary Clinton. They gave her a 13-point advantage over Barack Obama. This was decisive in this race. It didn't happen in Iowa, but it happened in New Hampshire. She got women's votes back, and there's going to be a lot of analysis of how she did it, but she did it.
Was there one particular issue where she was very strong?
The economy. That was the biggest issue to the voters here, and that's the issue that delivered for her. Look at this. Among voters who said their top issue was the economy, Clinton had almost a 10-point lead over Barack Obama. The economy paid off, a big concern for her constituents, for all Democrats. That was the issue that did it.
As she heads now into big states, what do you think propels her forward?
Union voters were very important. You know, among non-union voters in New Hampshire, the race was a tie. She won because union voters right here gave her a 10-point lead. They're not very numerous in New Hampshire. Only 20% of Democrats are from union households, but that put her over the top. And as we go to some of these big states like New York and California and Nevada, union voters are going to become more and more important to her.
Just a few moments ago, we heard Carl Bernstein say that Hillary's baggage was Bill Clinton. But if you look at the actual exit poll question about Bill Clinton, you don't see that as baggage.
No. Bill Clinton is a rock star among Democrats. He, Barack Obama were both, when Democrats in New Hampshire were asked about their favorability to various people, Bill Clinton came out right at the top, along with Barack Obama. So Bill Clinton, he was not a controversial figure. Democrats in New Hampshire love Bill Clinton.
And Hillary Clinton, a solid 10 points below her.
She was about 10 points below her husband and Barack Obama. Bill Clinton, it looks like, helped her.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, what are the big headlines we're going to see? It's got to be, where do the polls go wrong?
The polls clearly went wrong. The answer is, I don't know, but all the polls pointed in the same direction. A significant Obama victory. All the polls got it wrong, and there'll be a lot of hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth over how that happened.
And did the almost crying work? Was that it?
And that's the other issue. Yes, her show of emotion, how much difference did that make? There'll be torrents of print over how that happened, but believe me, it'll be considered a signal campaign moment in this campaign.
Well, to paraphrase Lou, South Carolina tonight just got a whole lot more interesting,
Yes,
I think it's fair to say. Lou?
Absolutely. Solid. Thank you very much. Lost in all of the discussion about the comeback of Hillary Clinton, a 5-day turnaround, if you will, Senator John McCain, which has been really a several-month campaign. Anderson Cooper is over with our panel, and Anderson, our John King talked about a new message from Hillary Clinton, and he was absolutely right. There was also a steadfast message from Senator McCain that seemed to work as well, Anderson.
Certainly, those are both the big stories of the night. I want to go back to this polling information. On the Republican side, the polls seemed accurate. Clearly, on the Democratic side, they were not. On the internet, a lot of people are asking the question about race. Is it possible people lied to pollsters saying they were going to vote for an African-American candidate and then not?
It's always an issue that comes up when you have an African-American candidate. And you're right. I've got a number of emails tonight from people in different campaigns, Democratic strategists, other people out there saying, well, could it be race? Could it be race? Could it be race? Don't know the answer to that, and let's hope not. We'll check in with our pollster. We'll do some more analysis on that. But also could be other things. Hillary Clinton flooded the zone. A lot of union help, a lot of ground people, foot soldiers who know New Hampshire very well, and turnout in Manchester and Nashua, the traditional cities where she does better with lower income, more traditional blue-collar Democrats, and she had huge margins in Manchester and Nashua. You turn out more votes where the people are, you win elections.
Donna Brazil, CNN contributor. It has happened in other races before. Tom Bradley effect, some people call it.
Well, look, it happened in the Doug Wilder race. We've seen it in other races. We saw it just recently when Harold Ford was running for the United States Senate in Tennessee. I don't know if race was a factor. If voters said one thing to pollsters and then, of course, did another thing once they were behind the booth. What we do know is back in December, Senator Clinton had a tremendous ground operation to get absentee ballots in before the deadline. They targeted seniors, older women, and that may have been the difference
I think it's worth,
Senator Clinton.
Excuse me. I think one of the things that's worth remembering about the race theory is that the polls were very accurate in Iowa a week earlier, and if anything, underestimated Obama's support. So I mean, it's a caucus, not a primary.
The flip side of that is it's a public vote. It's a caucus. You're standing up in front of your neighbors as opposed to a private vote in a voting booth.
Yes, that's true. But I think to have a completely different change based on race, based on the same candidates, strikes me as unlikely.
But here's what we do know. We do know that women changed their votes from when we were polling, just a few days ago. We also know that Hillary Clinton made a move not just for older voters, but to try and get the 25 to 39-year-olds. I mean, Barack Obama won with the young voters. She won with the over 65 set. But on the 25 to 39-year-olds, they split those people this time. And that's a move that she made, and she's going to continue to do that in her retooled message. She's not going to give up that sort of middle crowd to Barack Obama.
For John Edwards, this was probably the worst possible outcome. You raised that point earlier.
The Edwards campaign is saying this is great because Obama's not running away with it. That is their public line. But they wanted her out of the race because an Obama-Clinton race crowds Edwards out. That has been the thing all along. So their hope was that Obama would win. I mean, obviously they wanted to win New Hampshire, but they knew they wouldn't. So their hope was Obama won tonight. You knock Senator Clinton on the ropes, and then you have two candidates competing for change, and essentially their campaign was based on the idea that the kid stumbles, that Obama eventually, after running off a string of successes, makes a mistake down the line, and Edwards is the guy left standing. So they're saying this is a good thing for them tonight. I have a hard time figuring that out.
For Hillary Clinton, Edwards staying in the race is a good thing.
Absolutely. It split the anti-Clinton vote. It gives John Edwards an opportunity to go down to New Hampshire, go down to South Carolina, shake things up. But I don't think John Edwards has the resources, the money, or a message that will resonate. Right now...
He won in South Carolina in the past, though.
Well, yeah, he won 4 years ago. That was a different season, but this is a season where you have Barack Obama, an African-American. African-Americans will make up more than 50% of that primary. I still think that Obama will have tremendous momentum going to South Carolina.
Let's talk about that, though, because what does this mean, Hillary Clinton coming in first now, if you're African-American in South Carolina? Before the last week, there's been a lot of talk about African-Americans in South Carolina suddenly seeing Barack Obama as a viable candidate, switching from the Clintons to him. Is that in doubt now?
Look, I think black women will determine the outcome in South Carolina. All along, they've been looking for a champion, a fighter. In the last couple of days, they've been very excited about Barack Obama. I think tomorrow morning, what we'll hear on the black radio stations, and clearly Roland Martin knows a lot about this, black women will determine whether or not Obama will become the Democratic nominee.
Remember also that Obama got a tremendous bounce out of Iowa. Hillary Clinton's going to get a bounce here. I mean, the polls are going to change, and that's why Nevada and South Carolina, I don't think any poll that exists now is worth looking at because things are going to be different tomorrow.
John King has an example of it, nothing older than the day-old news.
I was just going to hold this up. You know, I used to work in the print side of the business, and I'm not making fun of the New York Post. We all are on this bandwagon. I'm just using this as an example, but I think in the print side of the business, the language is get me rewrite.
Right. But let's give credit to the candidate, to Hillary Clinton. I think the Hillary Clinton you saw tonight giving that speech was kind of a retooled candidate. If you notice the stagecraft around her, wasn't the Madeleine Albrights anymore standing behind her, was young.
In fact, when I flew back from Manchester this morning, I was on the plane with General Wesley Clark. I was like, oh, they're sending him out. That's right.
You know, and her message was completely retooled tonight. It was much more personal. It wasn't Mark Penn focused, grouped to death. This is the candidate you are going to see in South Carolina.
Well, Lou, it'll also be very interesting to see all that talk about retooling the campaign. Will that actually now occur, given what happened? Or all those people who are suddenly, you know, people were condemning Mark Penn, is he now suddenly brilliant again? We'll have to wait and see tomorrow.
Throw away Mark Penn's playbook, and what you saw tonight was Hillary Clinton taking advantage of this moment, and now she is going to run her own campaign.
Well, let's go back to Lou.
Anderson, thank you. We're sitting here looking at something our executive producer, David Borman, pointed out. If the snapshot were to end right here, we're looking at two U.S. senators vying for the presidency if one of these two parties happens to produce the winner of this election. That hasn't happened since John F. Kennedy. The other thing that's interesting about this, we have two senators who took very distinct, firm positions on the war in Iraq, and unpopular ones with the extremes, if you will, in terms of the Democratic Party, and very unpopular with many of the people in the Republican Party. What do you make of that, Bill Bennett?
Yeah, that's right. John McCain's position on the war, obviously unpopular with many Americans, but he said, I'd rather lose an election than lose the war. The surge seems to be working, or at least making some progress, and McCain is rewarded for this. Hillary Clinton has been pushed around by the left, saying you're not tough enough on this war, and she has prevailed. However, I would say this, and on the Democrat side, it will be either Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. I guess one says tonight, perhaps somewhat more likely Hillary Clinton. You don't know who it's going to be on the Republican side.
Partner, I don't know who it's going to be in either party. Let me be real clear.
But it'll be one of those two. But you can't say it'll be either Huckabee or McCain. I mean, it's a tremendous win for McCain, but this thing is still open to 3, 4, 5 people.
And doesn't that feel pretty good?
Well, it's a great country, you know, and they decide, the pundits don't. Don't listen to these people. That's what we're saying.
Well, real quickly.
Look, I understand the whole point in terms of when people say, I will vote for someone African American, I won't. Women turn this. And I think, I disagree with John, I'm an old print guy. I think all of that discussion about her possibly going down in flames caused women to say, wait a minute, we don't want to see her go down in a second primary. Let's give her a shot. I just don't buy that. I think women, they were the key.
It's not only that women were the key, it's the other night Hillary said, look, I'm a woman running for president. That resonated. She is now campaigning as a woman running for president. That is the difference. That's who you're seeing.
See blacks will say that in South Carolina.
We haven't seen that until now.
While you all continue this, we're going to turn to our colleague Wolf Blitzer, who's going to bring us up to date on the votes as they're being counted now. Wolf, help us out.
Thanks very much, Lou. Excellent discussion. Let's take a look and see what we know right now about the actual vote. We know who's going to win among the Democrats. We know who's going to win among the Republicans. Here's the tally as of right now. First among the Democrats with 86% of the precincts reporting Hillary Clinton, the winner, with 39% so far. Barack Obama very close behind, 37%. Nothing to be ashamed of about at all. John Edwards with 17%. Bill Richardson, the governor of New Mexico, only 5%. In hard numbers, Hillary Clinton gets just more than 95,000 to Barack Obama's just more than 89,000. John Edwards, 41,000. Bill Richardson, 11,000. Kucinich and Gravel far behind. Among the Republicans, let's take a closer look right now. John McCain is the winner. A comeback for him. Very important win. He needed it desperately, and he got it. 37% of the vote with 85% of the precincts reporting. Romney, 32%. Huckabee comes in third with 11%. He says he's very happy about that, having won the Iowa caucuses. Giuliani, only 9%. Everybody else less. Ron Paul just below Rudy Giuliani. 15,667 votes. John McCain got the most, more than 75,000. Romney, 64,000. Huckabee, 22,000. Almost 500. And Giuliani and Ron Paul fighting it out for fourth place right now. We're going to continue to stay on top of this story. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear what some of the presidential candidates had to say to their supporters and to all of us here as we cover this story. You're watching us from the CNN Election Center. We'll be right back.
It's not just about imagining your future. It's about knowing you'll get there. HSBC Direct Online Savings gives you 4.25% APY, 9 times the national savings average. And unlike CDs, you can withdraw cash anytime. Go to hsbcdirect.com and stay in control of your money while making more of it.
Get a low-rate home equity loan with LendingTree. Use it for home improvement or repairs. It's easy. Just sit back and let the Leaf work for you. Lock into a great home equity loan today. With the LendingTree Advantage, you get rates that beat the national average with terms and conditions up front, plus loan experts that are always available. LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
Don't be fat another day. Order Nutrisystem Advanced and get 4 weeks of delicious meals. Get free membership, free counseling, and free shipping. But wait, call or go to Nutrisystem.com/56 to find out how you can get 56 extra meals absolutely free.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $398 when you call now to get this special $200 discount certificate.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled from top quality materials right here in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free DVD plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free Sunsetter DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
Call now, 1-800-335-9236.
CNN Monday, January 21st. Just days before their first test in the South, the Democrats face the toughest questions yet. CNN and the Congressional Black Caucus present the Democratic Debate, Monday night, January 21st, 8 Eastern. This January, CNN gives you one last chance to see every candidate before Super Tuesday, a 2-night-in-a-row live television event. First, Wednesday night, January 30th, the Republicans at the Ronald Reagan Library with Anderson Cooper. Then, Thursday night, January 31st, live from the Kodak Theater in L.A., it's the Democrats with Wolf Blitzer. 2 nights in a row on CNN. Your last chance to see the candidates before Super Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, January 30th and 31st on CNN.
We got a lot more coming up here at the CNN Election Center. Also at the top of the hour, midnight Eastern, Larry King has a special program that's coming up. Larry's joining us with a little preview. Larry, it's always exciting on these election nights. What's on tap at the top of the hour?
You're not kidding, Wolf. We'll have 2 candidates, one from each party. We'll have major supporters of those candidates, including the chief advisor to the very successful Hillary Clinton tonight. And we'll have our own set of superb reporters, the best team in television, including you, Wolf, who will hang around to be with us. So we'll have lots of interesting talk from lots of interesting people on this really surprising night.
A very surprising night indeed for a lot of people, Larry. We're standing by a full hour with Larry coming up right at the top of the hour. We're looking forward to that. Let's take a look at these 2 winners' campaigns. Dana Bash is standing by at the McCain headquarters, pretty empty behind you right now. Dana, Candy Crowley's over at the Clinton campaign. Still people behind you, Candy, over there. I want to play a clip, Dana, from what John McCain told his supporters just a little while ago. A huge win for him tonight in New Hampshire.
The pundits declared us finished. I told them, I'm going to New Hampshire where the voters don't let you make their decision for them. And when they asked, how are you going to do it? You're down in the polls, you don't have the money. I answered, I'm going to New Hampshire and I'm going to tell people the truth.
You got to give McCain a lot of credit. Dana Bash, you've been covering his campaign. There was no surrender. He used that word. He absolutely refused to surrender, and he managed to get a win in New Hampshire once again tonight. Give us a little flavor of how it unfolded.
Well, it was a remarkable night for John McCain and his supporters here. You know, the fact that he, as he said, he really was just, it's important to keep reminding our viewers, just a few months ago, he was basically left as a goner in the Republican race for several reasons, primarily because he simply was not in line with the Republican base on some major issues, including immigration. But he did come back here and built himself back up the old-fashioned way, and the way that he did it the last time he won in 2000, by going from town hall to town hall and taking voters' questions, taking some pretty tough questions. He mentioned tonight sometimes he disagreed with them. I witnessed a couple of those. You know, he wasn't afraid to sort of go back and forth with voters, even those who were giving him a hard time. The challenge for John McCain at this point, he does have a new lease on life, which is better than the alternative, but the challenge is to try to emulate what he was able to do here in New Hampshire, which is a very special place for John McCain. It's going to be very difficult to do that, but he is going to go ahead to do it in Michigan, a place he did win in 2000, and then on to South Carolina. His hope there is to get the veterans, the very big veteran population, to perhaps prop him up in South Carolina. unlike what happened to him in 2000, where he lost big time there.
Had he lost in New Hampshire tonight, who knows what he would have been able to do. But now he moves forward to Michigan and South Carolina and beyond. Dana, thanks very much. Let's check in with Candy Crowley. She's over at the Clinton headquarters. Still some people mulling around behind you. A huge win for her tonight. She needed it after her setback in Iowa. She got it. Give us a little flavor.
Well, just to let you know how energized they are, the reason there are still people behind me is that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are still shaking hands and talking to people. So, look, they really went into today, they swear, thinking they were going to lose. They were talking about, well, if we lose by less than 7 points, it will be a victory for us because it means Obama didn't get it bounced. You could hear over the hours as you checked in with them that they were growing increasingly optimistic about it. Why do they think they pulled this out? A couple of things. They say, you know, first of all, this is a primary as opposed to a caucus. When you have a caucus, you've got like an hour to figure out who's in that caucus. In a primary, people vote all day long, so they could go to their strengths, to their bailiwicks where they knew there were a lot of Clinton supporters. They knew whether people were turning out. They could drive them to the polls. But more than that, they say that coming out of Iowa, Hillary Clinton said, we need to do a better job reaching out to young people. As you know, young people flock to Barack Obama. So she spent the past 5 days reaching out to young people, particularly young women. So they think that really had a lot to do with it. And they say that they will, moving forward, be reaching out to young people because they know that was a constituency that they ignored in Iowa. They admit to that. They also believe what we heard here in this speech. And what was interesting to me was there was a lot of criticism about the Clintons being about the Clintons, that it was always about their victories or their defeats. And what you heard tonight from Hillary Clinton was a rephrasing of the way she started this race when she announced, when she said, I'm in it, and I'm in it to win. Well, tonight she said, I'm in it, and I'm in it for the American people. So there's a lot of things that this campaign has learned over time. Clearly, one of them is that Hillary Clinton has got to be more personable, has to be more likable, and has to show a little more of herself out there on the campaign trail. Well,
I couldn't help but notice, and I'm sure a lot of people did, Candy, that behind Hillary Clinton tonight, when she was delivering her victory speech, you saw a lot of young people. You didn't see a lot of the old-timers from the first Clinton administrations. I didn't see Madeleine Albright. I didn't see Wesley Clark. I saw a lot of young kids behind her, and I suspect that was not by accident. What are you hearing?
And not at all by accident. Look, they watch the news. They hear the commentaries. They know that while Barack Obama was out there claiming his victory in Iowa, they were standing on a stage with what looked like the 90s. Bill Clinton, Madeleine Albright, older people. What they want this to be is her campaign now. It can't be his campaign, and they want to reach out again to those young voters. Well,
a dramatic night for Hillary Clinton. Candy Crowley watching every step of the way. Let's go back to Lou. You know, you got to give Hillary Clinton, Lou, a lot of credit.
Well, I think you have to give certainly Senator Clinton a lot of credit. Also, Senator McCain, because we are talking about two candidates, the victors tonight, both of whom have been chastened, both of whom have proved to be extraordinarily adaptive. Senator Clinton, within a space of some 5 days, we can talk about any number of nuances and subtleties within that, but there's certainly a remarkable learning process for two senators who I'm sure thought before this campaign process began that they knew it all, or at least most of it. For both of them, the next stop, the most significant for all of these candidates, certainly will be South Carolina, although Michigan and, of course, Nevada lie between now and then. Our Dan Lothian has a few thoughts on what awaits in South Carolina. Dan?
Well, you know, as you were saying earlier, this is so important, so critical now here in South Carolina. South Carolina was important yesterday, but after what happened in New Hampshire, all of these leading candidates will be coming here. And here is the reason why. 50% of the Democratic voters in the primary are African Americans. This will be key for Senator Clinton, Senator Obama, and because there's been an interesting dynamic that has been taking place in the state over the past few months. Half of those African Americans, sort of a tug of war, who have been going for Hillary Clinton, loyalty to Clinton and her message, and then other African Americans who were leaning towards Obama, but were concerned as to whether or not he would be electable. That has been changing over the last few days as he won in Iowa, as he was showing some strong numbers in New Hampshire. But certainly, this will be an important battle now, and it has intensified because of what has happened in New Hampshire. On the Republican side, 60% of the Republican primary voters are evangelicals. So that now will be key for Governor Huckabee because he really wants to tap into the evangelical votes to make a move here in South Carolina. So again, a critical state. It was important yesterday, but it becomes much more important today because of what has happened in New Hampshire.
Thank you very much, Dan. Dan Lothian giving us the sense. Roland Martin, by the way, saying, you know, 50% of those Democratic primary voters may be black, but 50% of them are also white, and that's a pretty good way to make the distinction, I think. It's interesting because there is this assumption sort of built in certain quarters that Senator Obama is supposed to be becoming the candidate of blacks in this country. Senator Clinton now is the candidate of women. These are rather fragile definitions, aren't they, Roland?
Oh, sorry. No, absolutely, because again, you have African Americans who were waiting for whites in Iowa to validate the black candidate to give them the opportunity to say, okay, now we'll vote for him.
Permission to vote.
Right, and so you had that going on. And again, here's the concern here, okay? This is why the Obama campaign did not want John Edwards to drop out. And there will be some concern how he places. Right. Because if you have 50% African American, how will Clinton and Obama vie for those votes? But also, is there a plateau? Is there a cap for Obama when it comes to white voters? Yeah. That's why when he campaigned in Republican quarters, conservative quarters, people said, what are you doing? Because he said, I got to speak to them as well, because they will be voting as well in this primary.
Our colleagues, Carl Bernstein, across the vast election central here in New York, we're talking about questions about Senator Obama and whether or not there was some sort of recoiling from a black candidate. I think it's really important for us to look at those numbers. This man got 37% of the vote, which is more than the winner of the vote in the Republican primary. This is a remarkable performance.
And 53% of the voters, the Democratic voters, voted against Hillary Clinton. What she got tonight was the ability to run this campaign out to the end and raise money. You know, she was going to run out of earlier in the day, her people, some of them were heading for the exits. I was on the phone with them, and they were talking about they were trying to get money, and they couldn't get money.
Wasn't a mandate.
And on top of which, she wasn't going to go to South Carolina. The plan was if they had expected to lose, if they lost the way they had expected, and they had bought into these snapshot polls themselves to a certain extent, the Clinton entourage.
We're looking for accomplices in this, aren't we? For others who had bought into these polls.
Well, they are snapshots.
Absolutely.
But whatever the case, you know, they were going to try and stay in this thing by going to a few states in February 5th and winning those big states. Now they can play the table again. That's what happened tonight. That's so important.
15% of the New Hampshire voters didn't decide until today. And so, although there was a poll yesterday, that's a huge number, 15%.
Well, John King said that Senator Clinton, before she came out with that victory speech tonight, would be rephrasing her message. And indeed she did. And John King has a look at where she's going to be taking that message, where Senator McCain, all the other candidates, both Democrat and Republican, are going to be carrying their message over the next several weeks and months. And John, I just want to compliment you because, by the way, if you're marking and keeping score, as I listened to Senator Clinton tonight, John, I think we have another populist in this race for president.
The challenge in a long race, Lou, is to adapt to what the voters want. Look, here's a look at tonight. This is the Republican race tonight. This is the Democratic race tonight. Now the question is, where are we going? Well, here's where we go from here, and it gets crowded, and it gets complicated. This is the big state here, Super Tuesday. I'm going to bring you back a little bit. This is tonight, where we are. New Hampshire, voted. You know the winners. Well, where do we go next? Next contest? State of Michigan. That's a Republican primary, as we said. McCain and Romney, although don't discount Huckabee, there are Christian conservatives in that state. So what's up next after that? You come down here, That's South Carolina and Nevada. It's Carolina here is for the Republicans on the 19th. Nevada over here, big contest for the Democrats. We'll see if Obama can rebound. We're told he'll get a big endorsement there tomorrow. Then we take a little bit of a break. You have a CNN debate, though, here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for the Democrats. Why is that so important, our debate? Because 5 days later, the Democratic primary, Roland just talked about it, the African-American vote matters in that contest. Then, again, the candidates will be running around the country. The 29th, can Rudy Giuliani prove his strategy works? That is the single question on January 29th. Can Rudy Giuliani prove that waiting was worth it? Then it gets very busy. We have a CNN debate out in California for the Republicans on the 30th. Then the 31st, we have the Democrats. And then it all might come down to this, the flashing state. It looks complicated. More than 24 primaries, Super Tuesday on February 5th. Lou?
Thank you very much, John King. Well, looks like we have a little excitement awaiting us and the nation.
Looks like we have a pretty good story that's unfolding, which is good for all of us.
The idea that this campaign of Hillary Clinton's could be resurrected today. I don't know about you, but I was absolutely thrilled to see all of the experts absolutely wrong, get kicked in the teeth, and the people of New Hampshire speak eloquently and surprisingly.
It seems like every election we are taught that lesson and then forget that lesson the next election around, that you cannot predict anything.
Well, we're television newsmen. We're not supposed to be that smart.
The polls in the primary were supposed to be so much more accurate than the polls in a caucus. Although, if you remember, the Des Moines Register had pretty accurate poll numbers going into the caucus on both the Republican and the Democratic side. The polls in New Hampshire, not necessarily all that accurate, including the so-called poll of polls, the average of all the major polls. Hillary Clinton surprised a lot of people.
The last refuge for all of us, the poll of polls, when we can't quite figure out what each poll means, we can do an average.
But it is interesting, Candy Crowley reporting just a few moments ago that people within the Clinton camp started off today, I mean, believing those polls as well. That it wasn't just some punditry. It was the candidates themselves were down.
I suspect scholars are going to be studying this New Hampshire primary for a long time to try to figure out, A, why were the pundits wrong, but B, what happened tonight? And I suspect we're going to be getting some answers over the coming days.
And my guess is that Senator McCain will now have the opportunity, with enough new money, to